Father Fabio, I would love your help. I have felt very distressed, sad. I feel without the slightest desire to leave the house. When I leave, I can't even look at people. I am suspicious and afraid. Anyway, I isolated myself from the world. I'm without friends. I'm without anyone by my side. Father, how to do it? How to get out of this isolation situation? My daughter, first thing, we need to identify that these isolations, this tendency to isolation, I always like to differentiate. It is not every sadness that is depression. It is very sad that we will pass, for example, how these people who are living this moment so tragic there in Santa Maria. It is a terrible sadness that, if not well cared for, if it is not well administered, it can become a depression. We know that isolation is a feature of depression. So it would be interesting at first make this effort to get out of you, to get people who can add, who can do you good. And I believe you have. If you isolated yourself, it is very likely that you have left a lot of good people aside. So be able to analyze, what did you leave behind? Who are these people who suddenly isolated and that you have not allowed them to be part of your life? Because this is symptomatic. The more we isolate ourselves, the greater the difficulty we have to return to the conviviality. So suddenly, if you step back and try to resume these relationships that can break the power of this isolation, you are already helping yourself. Priest. I'm not getting it. I'm trying and So it's time for you? Suddenly looking for a good professional, a good psychologist. Maybe you investigate this a little? A doctor, perhaps. Make an appointment. But with God's sake, do not start by taking all those medicines, all that they send. Be able to make, first, a life change, a personal effort. To change your routine. To change your life structure. Bring good things to your routine. Eliminate what you know that causes your isolation. Open your heart to find people a little more and read a good book. Watch a good movie. Be with people who need you. A good way to break isolation, my people, is that you walk towards people who need you. And how are people needy today? In Santa Maria, all the time we heard the professionals terrified there asking psychologists. Doctors come to help us. Sincerely, my wish was to go there. What can I do there? I don't know. But suddenly being there, accompany. Find those people. Be with them. Even though I didn't say anything. When we leave, when we forget our pain a little, when we put our suffering in our pocket and will help the other who suffers, it is as if the suffering that is in our pocket diminish the weight. Sometimes we think there is a problem, right? But when we enter an asylum, a cancer hospital, then you will see that you have no problem. You have another little bit that bothers you. And because you have not seen that you can help or have people who suffer much worse things, you end up believing that your little picanha is the worst problem in the world. We break the isolation and we break the harmful power of isolation when we go out and go towards those who need more. Do that, my daughter. Start by breaking your isolation, heading towards people who need your affection or who can receive your affection, your love. You can be sure that gradually, while you give to the other affection, love, affection, you will restore everything that has been lost along the way. Because this is a golden rule, see? The more we offer to each other, the more we receive what we are offering. The more I love, the more I get love. The more I offer, the more I give, the greater my ability to receive too. And that doesn't end. It is an ever-positive movement that enhances us. She said, Father Fabio, the Lord always speak. And I also saw in Bible passages that we should fight the good fight. Sorry for my ignorance, but what would this good fight be? Was it worth being fought? And what would be the bad combat? The good fight, Sandra, is all that is directly linked to the effort I need to do to prevail. We have talked about it several times here. Our world suffers the constant influences of all the devilish power in the world. So I need to combat it all. I need to combat the addictions. I need to combat the lie. I need to combat injustice. Then you go to your home. You know very well what good combat you need to do and establish every day for you to keep growing as a person. It is a fight every day. You, who now watch me, you are listening to me to talk about good combat. Of course, you have countless realities before you ruining your home, spoiling you, sometimes spoiling our work environment, staminating, producing bad things within us, producing anger sometimes. What do you need to do? Fight. You need to arm yourself with good things to be able to overcome what is bad. That's it, my people. There's no other way. Our mind will be occupied by a single thought. If you choose to put a bad thinking, you will not be fighting the good fight, because you will give space to the place where evil grows, which is your mind, so that it grows even more. You will host the evil. We cannot host evil in our mind, in our hearts. We cannot host what is bad, because otherwise it gains place. It grows inside us. To combat the good fight is that you expel all the time what hurts, what is bad, what causes intrigue, what saddens, what hurts, what is ill. There are many realities that generate evil in the other. We corroborate this. It is. We help keep up. Now, when I am aware that I need to combat the good fight, I will take part in this fight doing what I can. So a gossip comes to me. I don't make her go to us. I realize that there is a colleague of mine who is being ridiculed all the time. I will not ridicule you. On the contrary, I will approach. I will be a friend. I know someone is being harmed. I won't leave it. I won't allow it. I will do everything to make that injustice stop. I will fight to prevail, which is good in life, and that is being a Christian. If the good fight I don't fight, my crown I won't win. If my career I don't complete, what is my faith worth so much? Look how beautiful this. The composer knew how to say brilliantly, the reward expresses in this crown that I am saying that I am not worthy to put on my head if I do not fight. I don't fight every day to prevail what is good in life. It is not worth keeping this faith. What is it worth keeping a faith within my heart if this faith does not become actions? If it does not materialize in concrete attitudes of solidarity, justice, love, there is nothing. This faith that does not turn into works, read St. James's letter there. You will see the context of this reflection. We in life, we will always stay at this point, and then this is also a matter of maturity. We can be able to make a role or be able to make a decision that favors us, and at the same time, we contradict someone. This is a very serious problem that is not your own, see? I am not exempting you from your responsibilities. But this is often a problem from parents who are not able to take a distance. The child is not a place you have to realize the dreams you had for you. How many times have we found unhappy people because they were not truly strengthened to make their decisions and ended up doing what their parents wanted? Sometimes you find a person who has been 50, 60 years around the needs of the father and mother and could not assume the authorship of his own life. And we know that mother's love and love of mother is very healthy. But you have to have the right measure. There is a moment of life when the son has to be well strengthened to take their decisions and make their choices, and to parents at the right time, to help forward that decision to be mature. But not decide for the child or decide on the young man. We know it's a concern. I see in many families the desire that the father has that his son enters the right course. And sometimes, because these boys start studying very early, so at 15, 16 years old, they need to decide what the professional future will be. It's time to enter college at 17, 18, and really not always the 16. 17-year-olds are already able to choose the profession and be calm with the decision you made. But what we need to do is make this choice a little more mature. For this, The colleges help to do a vocational development for that boy to have. This is funny. Since we were young, we already have that identification. There are those who identify with the exact sciences. There are those who identify with the biological sciences. There are those who identify with the humanities. Since little, not director. You, who are here, who are a director with us here today, who works with the educational process all the time, knows that very well, that when you see the child, you can find out what are the main skills. And it is easier for you to help that child and that young man, that teenager, head to a course that will really help you take place as a person. But one thing I shall, another thing is to decide on the other. So, Thales, if you have the desire to try a seminar or to get a little closer to the religious vocation or just the priestly vocation, you have to be free for it, and your family will know that the choice is yours and that you, who are the protagonist of all this, your father and mother, the moment you will choose your role. They are just supportive. And this is very wise from parents, who are able to love with this freedom, which sometimes in the name of love we enslave. In the name of love, we tie each other in us. How many times the child would like to have gone to take a course out? I would like to have studied in another city. And it was not because the family affective ties suffocated the desire. So loving also consists of opening the door and allowing the other to go. Of course, with all the security, with everything you can do so that the other is well cared for where they go. And remembering that a little sacrifice is good for everyone, right? But my son there will not have the life he has here, priest. That's why I told him so much to stay. But sometimes it is precisely having a slightly harder life without the facilities he has at home, is that he matures. Sometimes excessive care makes us immature for a long time. I left home at 16, and I talked to you at home, of course. My life has never been very easy. My life was never easy, so I can't say that at some point in my story I was in the cake. No, I think the process of maturity goes through the sacrifice, the renunciations we are going to do in life. The person wants to be a doctor, but he needs to go through the 8 years in medicine, and only those who do know. You who watched me now has just arrived from college. Sometimes spent a whole day working, had no time for almost anything. But there is your duty done, and will sleep with this satisfaction that today's effort is worth it. Because today is the place of building the future. So if today I am able to sacrifice myself for the right things, surely the joys of the future will be more lasting.